Learning multiple languages at the same time is something I used to think was impossible until I start doing it for myself and adopting the right mindset. I mean, every mistake you can think of, starting too many languages at the same time, not having a plan, trying to study everything every day, total chaos. But once I understood how to balance my energy and my language process, everything started to change. So today I'm gonna share with you how I learned Chinese, Korean, Tagalog, a little bit of Turkish, all at the same time without losing my mind. Let's go. The first one is to prioritize languages, especially when you start. Don't start 2 languages from scratch at the same time. I learned it the hard way. When you first start a language, it's like opening a new shop. In the beginning, you have to be there every single day, setting up the shop, putting on the decoration, hanging the products, etc., making sure that everything runs smoothly. You're building the foundation for the store, and it's the same thing for the language. When you first start a language, you have to start from zero. Basic grammar, basic vocabulary, learn the new pronunciation, get used to the culture. So it naturally requires a lot of time and energy. But once the store is established, you don't have to be there every time, every day. You just have to maintain it and improve slowly. That's the same with intermediate level languages. You already have the foundation, so you don't have to study as intensively as the beginner level languages. You just have to focus on expanding your vocabulary and your grammar, listening more, reading more, actually just exposing yourself to the language. Now here's the thing, you could technically start 2 languages from scratch at the same time, but you will probably get exhausted, feel overwhelmed, and make really slow progress in both languages because your energy is divided in 2 instead of being laser focused on one language. So it's usually better to start with one language, build a strong foundation, and then start another one. So in my schedule, I will usually try to balance the levels of the languages. So have one language that is beginner, that I focus on, and I give all my attention for grammar practice, learning the pronunciation, vocabulary, etc. Then an intermediate level language where I already have a strong foundation and I just have to improve it and get it to an upper intermediate or advanced. And then we have the upper intermediate and advanced where I don't really have to sit down and study it anymore. I can just listen to podcasts, read books to improve it. Let me tell you a quick story that happened this year. This year I fell in love with 2 languages, Turkish and Tagalog, and I decided to start them both at the same time. But the thing is, I didn't know a thing of any of those languages, so I was starting from scratch. And let me tell you, trying to learn Turkish conjugation and vowel harmony at the same time as the new pronunciation of Tagalog word was a lot. I was dividing my energy in 2, therefore not seeing progress in any of those languages. So I had to take a really hard decision and take a break of Turkish and focus on Tagalog. So I can improve my Tagalog, and then when I have the time and energy, I will be able to restart Turkish the right way. But in this case, since I already started Turkish, learning vocabulary, grammar, etc., I still practice my flashcard from time to time just not to lose what I already learned. 2 is have one main character and then supporting roles. Let me explain. You can learn multiple languages at the same time, but not all with the same intensity. Think of learning languages as a TV drama. There is one main character that gets 60% of their energy and the screen time. Usually, those are the beginner level languages. Then you have the second lead that have 25% of the screen time. Those are the intermediate level languages. And then you have the supporting cast, like the background people. And those are the language that you are already really comfortable with and that you can maintain in the background. So if, for example, in your week you have 10 hours to study languages, you will spend 6 hours with the language that is beginner, 2 hours and a half with the intermediate level, and 1 hour and a half with the maintaining advanced languages, like proper sit-down studying session. This is how I see it. But on a day-to-day basis, I try to interact with all the languages in some kind of way. So I choose one main language for the day. This is the language that will have my sit-down study session, like making practice sentences, learning a new grammar point, etc. And the other languages for that day are like supporting roles. I interact with them in more passive ways, like listening to podcasts, watching a movie, reading a book, or even practicing my flashcards. This way, I get to interact with all the languages I love in the same day. The third one is stay accountable. One thing that really helps me to stay consistent with a language and connected to that language is to have someone to learn it with. So it could be a friend, a sibling, a language partner, or even a teacher. For example, I started learning Chinese with my mom, and when things was hard and motivation was low, we were able to be here for each other and push ourselves and keep going. But another thing that really helped me was having a teacher I met every week. Especially for languages that you're starting from scratch, having someone to learn it with is really great to stay accountable. Because listen, the amount of time I told myself, this week I'm studying Korean, and then a week passes and no Korean was learned. But when I have a lesson that is planned with a teacher, I know I will have one proper study session at least in the week, and I will have feedbacks, I will be able to speak with a native speaker, really useful. And the teacher keeps you consistent without relying on your motivation, you just have to show up and learn. So if you're looking for a teacher, it's actually not that hard, you can do it with italki, the sponsor of today's video. I only recommend things I genuinely find useful, and italki is such a helpful tool, especially for improving your listening and speaking skills. Italki is an online language learning platform that offers personalized one-on-one lessons with native speaking teacher. Something that really helps us to sound more natural in a language is having a native speaker to practice it with. Someone that can give you feedback, correct you, and show you how things are actually said in everyday life. And that's exactly what you get with italki. With a teacher on italki, you're not just improving your speaking, you're also sharpening your listening through real conversation and real-time guidance from a language expert. And like I always say, you don't need to move abroad to be able to experience immersion. You can get that culture and linguistic exposure right from home with an online teacher.
노아 씨 맞아요?
네.
좋아요. 지금 더 좋아요. 나는 it's considered formal이고 formal.
네.
Mean by formal is professional setting이에요. You are talking to many people. 생각하면 돼.
And if you're super busy, maybe you're a student, you are working, or your schedule is changing every single week, italki is really flexible. You can choose when to have class, and the lessons are really affordable. And the best thing is, you only have to pay per lesson. Finally, italki has italki Plus, an AI learning tool designed to help you learn faster. You get 1 month free trial with lesson summary, personal practice, and progress tracking to help you stay consistent. If you want to try italki for yourself, check out the link in the description, and there is a little bonus, but only for the first 50 learners. Buy $10 and get $5 free for your first lesson using my promo code mahano. 4. Don't study two similar languages back to back. If you're learning multiple languages at the same time, try to not study two languages that are too similar one after the other in the same study session. Let's say you're studying Italian and Spanish. If you've spent an hour deeply focused on Italian, your brain will be in Italian mode. Then if you immediately jump to Spanish, you will still have the Italian mode brain. So when you will try to speak Spanish, since the two languages are really similar, you will start having words in Italian instead of Spanish. This doesn't mean that you're bad in Spanish, it's just because you were so focused on Italian that your brain switched and you were like, you was searching for words in Italian and not in Spanish. So what you should do instead, try pairing different language type together, like Korean and Spanish, Chinese and Turkish, Japanese and French, or simply space them out in your day, one in the morning, one in the evening, or maybe just take 1 hour break between the two study sessions to reset your brain. And even for those two languages that are different type, Chinese and Turkish, try to take a small break, 30 minutes, or do something else to reset your brain. So the key idea is, if the two languages are similar, separate them, and if they are different, you can study them together, but between the two study sessions, give yourself a little bit of time to breathe. 5. Fit the language into your life. This is the most important part. Languages become easier when they become part of your everyday life routine. I like to say that language learning is a lifestyle. You have to fit the language in your life. So ask yourself, how can I do what I already do, but adding the target language. For example, I love watching rom-coms, so I switched to watching only Chinese, Korean, from the Philippines shows, so I get to interact with the language even when I'm watching movies. When I was learning English, I switched all my novels to English novels instead of French ones. Also, I try to listen to podcasts while I'm cooking or doing something else, and the videos I'm watching on YouTube are mainly in my target languages. It's about changing what you're already doing, but in the target language. This way you can still interact with the language even though you're not having a study session. And finally, don't be afraid to pause learning a language. Pausing learning a language doesn't mean quitting or just giving up on the language. Sometimes you don't have the time or the energy to learn a completely new language, and that's fine. Like I mentioned earlier, I took a break of Turkish, but it doesn't mean I quit or just gave up on the language. I'm planning to restart it in 2 or 3 months when I will have more time to dedicate to it. But in the meantime, I still practice my flashcards so I don't lose everything. Same for Japanese. I still love it so much and will love to be able to chat with people in Japanese, but for the moment, it's simply not my priority. If you truly care about the language, you will eventually come back to it when you will have more time and energy to dedicate to that language. And sometimes you can start a language just because you were curious about how it worked, or maybe you had a trip that was planned and now you are simply moving on and learning other things. So yeah, we can definitely learn multiple languages at the same time, but we need structure, patience, and the right mindset. To summarize, start one language from scratch at a time so you can give it your full focus and build strong foundation. Rotate your languages like characters in a story. Make the language part of your life. And finally, don't be afraid to take a break when you need to. And make sure to check out italki with the link below. The first 50 learners get a special bonus by $10 and get 5 free using my promo code mahano. Enjoy! And if you want more videos about language learning, watch this playlist right here. And that's it. Hope you enjoy. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Wanna make you happy and then she goes. 나만 혼자 남겨뒀어. 대화가 필요해.